Speaking repeat sentence tips and tricks. Let's have a look at some useful tips and tricks, some suggestions that will help you get a better score in repeat sentence. Listen carefully. Simple said than done, but what do we mean by listen carefully? We mean focus on phrases. Try to understand, capture, and remember parts of sentences that you hear, not just single words. Don't wait for the beep. As I mentioned a few times earlier, start recording immediately. There is a large number of questions, and each sentence is of a short duration. Therefore, they don't waste time on the beeps to indicate that the microphone has opened up. That's why be attentive, and as soon as you see the recording has started, you should start recording immediately. Understand the emotion. Don't speak like a robot. Obviously, there are a few ways you can repeat the sentence. Let's say you are nervous, you're not very confident, and you'll try to remember some sentences. Then the tendency is that we will rush through what we have heard, what we have remembered, because we are afraid we will forget them. So before we forget, we quickly want to record them. But try not to do that. Make it sound natural. And for that, copy the speaker's emotion and intent. So what are the words that the speaker wants us to focus on? Is the speaker angry about something? Is he happy about something? All right? Is there a cause that the speaker is highlighting, talking about? And then you can try to beat the sentence the same way. But you don't have to mimic the accent. So if it's an American accent you're hearing, you don't have to try to speak like an American, but you should try to capture the intent and the emotion that will make you sound much more natural and authentic. Don't get stuck. So if for any reason you stumble, you're not clear, you're confused, you don't remember, then complete the sentence based either on your knowledge of grammar or you use logic. So for example, if the sentence is about an aeroplane, then most likely the other words will have something to do with flying, with airports, with aviation, something like that. So you can use logic. You can use, if you have been able to understand, whatever you have been able to understand, based upon that, try to complete the sentence. So don't get stuck anywhere. Don't lose time. Try to complete as much as you can within the time that you have for recording. Don't wait too much. So if you finish, go to the next sentence. There's no need to wait for the 15 seconds that you have been given to run out before you go to the next question. You can go to the next question as soon as you finish recording. And also don't pause and think. This is a short sentence. You're supposed to speak quickly. So don't take long pauses. Also, if you take a long pause, then the microphone can shut down. So don't do that. A good way to visualize, and this is a very good tip, and it applies to a lot of questions in the speaking section, in listening section as well. You should try to visualize in your mind if you're trying to remember something. And this goes hand in hand with your attempt to understand. You want to understand. Now, this is a change of mindset. I have seen many students, they're nervous, they're scared, they've failed in their earlier attempts in IELTS or PTE, and now they just want to get through PTE somehow. So they try to take shortcuts, they avoid proper methods, but you don't have to do that. If you just have patience, you apply the method, you do it properly, then there's no reason why you can't get over the obstacle. So best way to remember is not just try to remember the words, but try to remember the meaning, try to remember what the speaker is trying to say, and to do that, paint a picture in your mind. So if it's, for example, a sentence is something about university and exams, then in your mind, try to see a room full of students writing their exam, and then use that picture in your response. So now, when you will give your response, you have a lot of references. You have that picture in your mind. You have some words and you have some phrases that you have remembered. There's also something that you have understood and remembered. Combine all of that and give a good response. And when you're visualizing, just visualize. Do not take notes. It's difficult to concentrate on these things, especially these two things, when the audio is so short, when you don't have much time. Say anything. So if you can't remember anything, still say something. Okay. If you have understood just one word, use that one word. I wouldn't say understood just one word. I would say, because if the situation is that bad, then you haven't been able to understand, or you've understood just a very small part, and mostly you have just remembered. So Then build something around what you have remembered and what you have understood. Finally, what I want you to do is when you speak, don't hesitate, speak loud and clear. This is applicable to all your spoken responses, but I especially wanted to highlight it here because there's a number of questions. I have seen many students, the first 5 repeat sentence, they speak with a lot of enthusiasm, loudly and clearly, but then they get discouraged for some reason or they get tired for some reason and they are not able to show enthusiasm anymore. Please don't let that happen to you. Each and every answer with 100%. Remember, the exam is only 2 hours. You do it, give it everything that you got, and you'll never have to do this exam again. All right? So don't hesitate, be confident, speak loudly and clearly. That's it. I hope you remember these tips and tricks and you apply them to each and every question that you practice and then later on in the exam.